Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I am no makeup on, fresh faced, hair looking crazy because it's gonna be 70 today. It's very humid here. When it gets humid, my hair gets super frizzy and there's just nothing to help it. It's been a crazy week in Virginia between being 70 degrees and humid. Tomorrow it's going to be the high of 30 and we're going to have sleet mixed with rain. It's been a crazy week here weather-wise in Virginia. But welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm glad that you clicked on my video because today's video is a little something different. I was scrolling through my Instagram feed and I follow a lot of pages for Aldi because I do a lot of shopping at Aldi. They have a lot of good deals on groceries, and then they have this aisle called the Aldi Finds of the Week, and I'm always looking through that because they have usually some really good stuff, kitchenware, containers and stuff like that. Sometimes there's like toys and stuff, but it's always something different. Sometimes it might just be different food and stuff. Like they had this pasta made from hearts of palm that I got one week that was the Aldi Find of the Week. But this Aldi Find of the Week was something like nothing else. I was seeing that somebody posted a picture on one of the Aldi Finds pages of makeup, and I was like, hold up. Now this is something that I do. So I was super excited when I seen that. I immediately went to my Aldi app that I have on my phone and looked up, as you can go and see what your finds of the week are at your Aldis, and then it'll show what's coming the next week too, a sneak peek. So I looked to see what my Aldi finds were of the week, and sure enough, my store had the Aldi makeup too. So I ran to my store and I picked up at least one of everything. I got two of the eyeshadow palettes. So I got this one, which is from Lacura. I think I'm saying that right, Lacura. But there's this one, which they look like naked palettes. I'm going to take them out of their packaging so you can see better. But I thought I'd show you the packaging because I thought the packaging's pretty good. They feel pretty weighted and heavy, but it's still pretty cheap packaging. It's like 10 packaging that you would expect to see from like Profusion. So we have this intense one, which I assume is supposed to be like the Urban Decay Naked Heat, which I don't have the Naked Heat palette. I wanted it when it came out, but I never end up purchasing it. But here is what it looks like. How freaking, I was like, ooh, this looks like a nice color story. I love the like reddish browns warm tones of this. So I'm glad I picked that one up. I always wanted the Naked Heat, but I never end up picking it up from Urban Decay. But the one I did end up picking up, and this one is solely so I could do a video and do a comparison, is the Nectar eyeshadow palette from Lacura. And this one is supposed to be a dupe for the Urban Decay Naked Honey. How gorgeous is that? It even comes right down to the brush that you get in your Urban Decay palettes. So I was very excited with that. Now I am going to compare it to the Naked Honey because I have my Naked Honey. This is the only Naked palette I've kept through all the years. It's the Naked Honey. So here is a look at them. They look very similar. I'm not surprised. I'm gonna show you the rest because there was not only eyeshadow palettes, they had mascara and primer too, which is the reason why I don't have makeup on right now, because they had makeup primer. So I'm going to show you the primer next. They had this Lacura Snapshot Ready, and I got the Illuminating Primer. This looks like these are supposed to be dupes of the Smashbox primer. So I'm just amazed. So I got the Illuminating because I like more hydration and I like more of a illuminating finish. You know, from the because I usually top my primer off with my Glossier Future Dew. So instead of doing that today, I'm going to put this over top of my face for my base. Here, let me take it out of the packaging so you can see what it looks like. So here is what it looks like. Looks just like the Smashbox used to look before they, I guess they reformulated theirs, because it says it has skincare benefits now, but it didn't used to say that. So I guess before they reformulated theirs to new formula. And I have two mascaras, because there was two different ones. So we have this one called Rise Above, which I believe this one is supposed to be a dupe for the real mascara from Benefit Cosmetics. I'll show you the mascara container so you can see that. And it feels very lightweight, but here's what it looks like. It looks just like the same type of packaging, but here is the wand. Looks just like the wand from the real mascara. I've never had the real mascara from Benefit, so I'm curious to try this. It does say that it's extend, lift, and volumize. Dramatically lengthens lashes for a fuller look. Builds volume while separating lashes, and lifts lashes for a wide-eyed look. No clumps, no smudges, no flakes. Which I will update you in the description box if this is all true. And then the other mascara they had, I accidentally bought it in waterproof. I meant to not get waterproof because I've actually tried the name brand version of this. But this one is called They're Brilliant. Looks like this. It is totally a dupe for the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. So I'm excited. It says define, lengthen, and volumize, waterproof. I didn't mean to get waterproof. I thought I got the regular version. This one feels really heavy and luxurious, just like the Better Than Sex mascara. But here it is. And it even has the same type of wand. Looks like it's going to be more of a thinner formula though. But it has the same type of wand as the Better Than Sex, the like hourglass type of wand. Seems to be a thinner formula. So we'll see. I tend to like a thicker formula mascara on me. But this one has similar claims as the Rise Above mascara. It says it dramatically lengthens lashes for a fuller look, builds a volume while separating lashes, delivers definition and curl from root to tip, striking lashes with just one coat, no clumps, no smudges, no flakes, waterproof, sweatproof, smudge-proof, and play-proof. We shall see about that. Let's go ahead and prime our face. I'm gonna take my glasses off finally. I'm just gonna go in first. I'm gonna go in first with my usual Juno coat, Moonshine. It's a primer, moisturizing primer, but I'm gonna use the Illuminating Primer like I would the Glossier Future Dew. So I'm gonna just top it over top of my moisturizer. I treat this more of like a hydrating moisturizer to put on my face. So I'm gonna moisturize my face with this, and then I'll go in with the Illuminating Primer. My face was dry. It was like, I feel like my face just drank that up. I get dry skin in the wintertime. More dry in the wintertime than it is in the summer. I'm shaking up my Illuminating Primer. We're gonna squirt this out and see what it looks like. And it does have a like safety seal on it, which I appreciate. This looks more like a moisturizer. So here is what it looks like. Looks more like just a moisturizer, your run-of-the-mill moisturizer. Has a pleasant scent. Smells like kind of like a moisturizer. Feels nice. Feels really moisturizing going on the face actually. And I see a tiny bit of glow. Nothing too much, but there is a tiny bit of glow there. Not as much glow as my Glossy Future Dew gives, but it's definitely a glow. Definitely, I say it illuminates. And it did glide over my skin nicely. I like it so far. I have to keep testing it out to see how I feel about it, but so far I'm really liking that. It felt really nice on the face. It looks a little illuminating, but not too much. So I think if you like illumination and you have oily skin, you might still like this. It moisturized without being too illuminating, and it did really soak up into my skin. I'm going to go ahead and put on my foundation, and I'm going to do the rest of my makeup, and then we're going to come back to compare the Naked palettes. The Naked Honey with the Naked Nectar, or with the Lacura Nectar palette. I'm going to try to do swatches of each shade side by side so you can see if they look any similar to each other. But let me go ahead and put on my base, my bronzer, blush, and all that, and then we'll come back to do the comparisons, and then we'll do an eye look with it. I think I'm going to do one look on my eye with the Naked Honey, and I'll try to do a similar look with the Lacura Nectar palette to see if you can get a very similar look, to see if they're as pigmented on the eyes as the Urban Decay is, although sometimes the Urban Decay's hit and miss on their pigment. But I'm going to put on my base, and then we'll be back to do that. Okay, I am back. I put my base on. I do notice after putting the rest of my face on that my skin is looking really dry. Like, you can see the makeup on my skin now, and I don't know. I'm going to have to keep on testing this out. I feel like this is not something I can use in place of my Glossy Future Dew, but maybe something that I can use as like a moisturizer and then still top it off with my Glossy Future Dew. So I am going to test it out that way to see how it does with my makeup, to see if my makeup still looks a little bit dry and looking makeup-y. It looks cakey on my face, especially like in my trouble zone, which is like right under my eyes, on my cheeks, high cheekbones. So I'm gonna have to keep testing this out to see different ways to use it and see if it does it every single way. So I'm going to test it out as using like a moisturizer next and topping it off with my Glossy Future Dew. And maybe I'll do that in a future video, because I am going to do a video using the other Lacura palette, the intense one, so y'all can see that palette too. But I want to do the Lacura Nectar palette first, so we could compare them with the Naked Honey, since that's the actual palette that I have. So let's get into doing some swatches. I think I'm just going to do them like each shade individually, side by side. And I'll probably go from this, like the lightest shade to the deepest shade. That's probably what I'm going to do, so we can see how it compares. So we're going to start off with the first shade, which is, it's called Flyby in the Naked Honey palette. In the Lacura Nectar palette, it's called Harvest. So right away, the Naked Honey one feels very smooth. It looks like a matte shade. It might be a satin. And it feels pretty smooth in the Lacura palette too. Probably not as creamy. Here we are. This one is the Naked Honey, and this one is the Lacura palette. Looks very similar to me. The Lacura palette might be a little bit lighter, and it looks like it might have like a slightly different undertone to it, but very similar nonetheless. Next we're going into Sweet in the Honey palette and Bloom in the Nectar palette. And this looks like to be a matte shade. It's a great transition shade, it looks like. And noticing right off the bat that the pigment is lighter in the Lacura palette. It's not quite as pigmented, but it does feel pretty soft. But here you go. As you can see, this is the Naked Honey. This is the Lacura palette. I built that up just as much as the Naked Honey, and it's just not barely showing up on my skin tone. So I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to see when it comes comes to eye swatches. Next we have Swarm with the Naked Honey and Bite with the Lacura palette. So we have Naked Honey, Swarm, and Bite from the Lacura palette. You can notice it's just not quite as pigmented on swatches. The Lacura palette's not as pigmented in swatches as the Urban Decay Naked Honey. Next we have our first shimmer or metallic shade. So we have Amber from the Naked Honey and Monarch from the Lacura Nectar palette. That just looks gorgeous from the Naked Honey. I do feel like they feel similar. So here we are. This one is the Naked Honey. This one is the Lacura palette. I think they do look very similar to me. They look very, very close to me. The shimmers look pretty good. They've been feeling soft in the pan. Next we have Keeper and then Bumble. This is also a matte shade, like a yellowy brown. We have Urban Decay Naked Honey and the Lacura palette. Looks pretty good. This one looks to be more pigmented than the other lighter shades. Maybe it's just because it's lighter shades. Next we have another shimmer shade, Golden in the Naked Honey palette. Golden in the Naked Honey palette and Pollen in the Lacura palette. This one feels very flaky. This is the Naked Honey. I rubbed it a little too hard. It's a little flaky. It feels similar. Here we are. This one is the Urban Decay Naked Honey and this one is the Lacura. Very, very similar. They had the same feel in the pan as each other. They both feel like more of a thicker, a little bit flakier formula, which I really like that type of formula for my shimmer shades, because when they're a little bit flakier, it just looks super sparkly on the eye, and I love that. But next we have Honey and then Sunflower from Lacura. Now I'd say the Lacura one felt more softer and smoother in this shade, but here is Urban Decay Naked Honey and this one is the Lacura. They look very, very similar. I feel like the shimmers are maybe the winners out of this palette. Very, very similar. Okay, it's another shimmer, but this is a deeper shimmer. So it is Queen in the Naked Honey palette, Nectar in the Lacura palette. And this is definitely a deeper shimmer shade. Now I think the feel of these shadows, they feel really good for $5.99. So this is Naked Honey and this is the Lacura palette. Look how good that is compared. And this is a $6 palette. $6. And you can get that. These, I'm going to say it, these shimmers are surprising me. Next we have Hive in the Naked Honey palette and Comb in the Lacura palette. I do have to say that the mattes are really pigmented with the Naked Honey. I forgot how pigmented they are. This one's really pigmented too. So this is Naked Honey and this is the Lacura palette. Very similar, very, very similar on those shades. They both are really pigmented. I'm excited to do an eye look with these. Next we have Drip with the Naked Honey and then it's Guardian with the Lacura Nectar palette. We only have 2 more shades left. So here we have the Urban Decay Naked Honey and here we have the Lacura Nectar palette. They look the same, both very pigmented, but we're going to see how it blends, how it performs on the eyeballs, not just how pigmented they are. But I do love doing swatches and seeing how pigmented shadows are before going on the face with them. Oh, here we have another shimmer shade. It's called the Naked Honey. It's HBIC, which I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that, so my apologies. But in the Lacura Nectar palette, it is called Buzz. These do feel very similar. Like the shimmers feel just as good Here is Naked Honey. Here is Lacura. Like, it looks the same. The exact same. I'm so surprised. I don't know why. Okay. And we're going into the very last shade of the palette. And it's called Sting in the Naked Honey and Nest in the Lacura Nectar palette. It's a little bit lighter. So this is the Urban Decay Naked Honey and this is the Lacura Nectar. I noticed that it's not as deep as the Urban Decay Naked Honey. But now we're going to see how they perform on the eyeballs. I've already primed my lids with my e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer. And I think I'm going to try and use just the brushes and the palettes. And then if I have issues with that, I'll go and use my rougher brushes. Let's take my glasses back off now. So I think I'm going to do... I'm going to do the Naked Honey on this eye, and I'll do the Lacura Nectar palette on this eye. So I think in the Naked Honey, I'm going to go in to the shade Sweet, which looks like that. It is a very beautiful transition shade. So I'm going to go into that shade Sweet. Put it in my crease. Now I'm using the brush that came in my Naked Honey palette. I did feel the brush that came in the Lacura Nectar palette. It feels very soft. Really nice brush. I'm going to go into the same shade in the Lacura palette, which I'll pick it up and show you. It is called Balloon, which is this shade right here, Balloon. Now I'm using the brush that came with my Lacura palette too. Thought I'd give the Lacura palette more of a shot by putting it on my right eye, because I do my better eye looks on my right eye versus my left eye. This brush feels really soft. You can see that this one's not exactly the same. I want to say that the one in the Lacura Honey has more yellow in it than the one in the Urban Decay Naked Honey. It's more, the one in the Naked Honey is more of like a brownish, it's more of a brown shade with like a yellowish undertone. Where this one is like a true like brown yellow. I don't know. Just has a little bit more yellow in it. And you can, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but I can tell in person that this eye looks more yellow. The transition shade does. This one looks more brown. So I'm curious to see how some of this is going to look by the end. But next I think I'm going to go into maybe Keeper. I think I'll do that one. I'm going to use same brush, same blending side. And I think I'm going to go into the shade Keeper here and put that in my crease. Try to do it more precisely in my crease. Just to more define the crease. And all that took was like one dip in the palette. And it's already done. This is one of the better Urban Decay Naked palettes, I have to say, that I've tried. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Naked Cherry. I loved it because I love the color story, but I feel like the shades didn't perform as good. But this performs really good. Okay, the shade that's comparable to that one, the Lacura Nectar palette, is this shade Bumble right here. So I'm going to go into the shade Bumble and put that on my opposite eye using the same brush, the Lacura brush that came in the palette. It's like one of the first times I'm doing like a comparison video on something that I have. I am seeing like a slight difference. Like I said, the Lacura palette, I don't know if it's just that it's not as pigmented, but the Lacura palette is coming out more yellow toned. It's coming out a little bit more yellow toned on my eyes. But that shade was very pigmented. I didn't have to dip into my pan as much for that shade. So I think next we're going to go right into the deepest shade. And I'm going to go into the deepest shade in the Naked Honey, which is Drip here. put it in my outer corner. I'm going to use the other side of the Naked Honey brush that's a little bit more pinched, so I can kind of like pack it on in the outer corner. Then I'm going to use the other side to kind of blend it out. I'm going to go ahead and go into my rougher brushes just to do the underneath of my eye. And I'm going to do the same thing I did. I'm going to take the deepest shade that I used in the palette. So I'm going to do the Naked Honey first. And I'm going to just take it underneath my eye. And I'm going to blend it out with the shade I used in my crease. Now I am going to use the same brush for the Lacura palette too. But I'm just going to clean it off in between. I'm going to go into the same shade. And put this back. And then I'm going into my Sigma eye shading brush. It's the E55. Mine is from the Cinderella collection that they did. I think I have one that's not too. But so I'm going to go into the shade that I used in my crease. Keeper for the Urban Decay Naked Honey. I'm going to blend out the shade. I'm going to clean it off my brush onto my color switch that I have here. And I'm going to go and take the same shade in the palette for this one, which was Bumble. And I'm going to do the same thing on my other eye. Blend it out. It's looking so good so far. Let's go ahead and take our glitter glue. I'm going to use my rougher number 28. And I will clean it off in between on my color switch, just so it doesn't like mix the colors on the eyes. I'm going to go in first with my Naked Honey palette. So I'm going to do this eye first. I always use glitter glue, so that is why I'm putting glitter glue on my eyes. Because no matter what I use, I always use glitter glue. And I think I'm going to go into the shade Golden, because I want to use the flaky shades in the palette. And that shade was Golden in the Urban Decay. That just looks so gorgeous on the face. I can feel it, some fallout from the shimmer shade, but I'm not surprised. I'm going to flip it over to the other side, the opposite side. And I'm going to take the shade Queen, which is the deepest shade in the palette. That shade right there, Queen. And I'm going to take it and do it on my outer corner on the opposite side. Taking it on the outer corner in between where I put my, now I'm going to clean off my brush and stick more glitter glue on it now that I've gotten everything off. And we're going to use the Lacura palette now for this comparable shades. So for the Lacura palette, I'm going into the shade Pollen, which is the same shade that was I used in the other palette. I can feel fallout from this shade on my face, just so you know. It is like a flakier shimmer, so I'm expecting that even with glitter glue. Probably if I would have used glitter glue and sprayed my brush, I could have avoided that. But wow, how phenomenal does that shade look on my eyeball. Okay, I'm cleaning off my brush now. Now I'm going to go into the deeper shade, which is called Nectar in this palette. And I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other eye, which is just add it to my outer corner so it connects better to the deeper shade. I am in love. Oh my goodness. Once you get down to the shimmer shades, that really makes them look very similar. Have to be honest, they look exactly the same. I don't think in real life nobody would be able to tell which eye is which. So I'm gonna take my my pencil brush from Sigma. I the E30 brush. And I'm going to go into my inner corner with the shade Honey, I believe. Because that white shade is a matte shade and I'm not the biggest fan of mattes. So I'm going to go into the shade Honey here, which is just like the brightest yellow in the palette. And stick it in my inner corner. Maybe it would have helped to put the white shade down first because I'm really having to build this up. I'm going to clean that off. Do the same thing on my other eye, but with the Lacura palette, which is the shade Sunflower. It's hard to read the shades in the Lacura palette because they're almost the same color as the palette. So you really have to take it into a certain angle to see. I kind of like the one in the Lacura palette better. It took less. I had to keep digging into the one in the Urban Decay to get it built up. The one in the Lacura palette kind of just didn't even question it. It just did it. I'm going to put a little bit on my brow bone. Totally forgot to do that. So I'm going to clean off my pencil brush and do the brow bone. Get a little bit of the one for Urban Decay and put it on my brow bone too. Yep, for some reason the one from Urban Decay not as creamy. The one, I don't know if it's different. I don't know what's different, but there's something different about the one in the Urban Decay in that shade. That it doesn't go on as pigmented as the Lacura palette does. The Lacura palette one almost seems like creamier, but this one seems maybe from the Urban Decay is a little bit drier and flakier and doesn't work quite as good. Seeing if I can find maybe a brown of my waterline to do. Let's see. Let me try this one. So this is from the... Actually, I don't remember what collection this is from. But it's a shadow stick from Colourpop. In the shade Check Please. It's a matte. I think it looks pretty good. It would probably look good with the Intense palette too. But I just wanted to stick something in my waterline. So here we have the completed looks. I'm gonna I'm done with palettes now, so let's move into mascaras. I'm gonna use, I do not have either one of these mascaras to like compare side by side because I got rid of my Better Than Sex mascara because I didn't have the waterproof version. So I hated that mascara. It like smudged and flaked on me, and it just, I had raccoon eyes at the end of the day with the Better Than Sex mascara. Even though it did build up my lashes good, make them look good, it's just something about it was not working for me. So I'm just going to do one mascara on one eye and one on the other, and we're going to see which of the two from Lacura is better than the other. Curl my lashes, and then we'll get into building up coats. I think I'm going to do the one that's supposed to be like the Better Than Sex on this eye, and then I'll use the Benefit one, the real dupe, on the other side. It really cleans off the brush, and it is like smudging pretty easy. My hair, I swear. It doesn't seem to be helping hold my curl. I'm already seeing that it's a lot like the Better Than Sex mascara. It looks nice and black and looks good, but like it didn't hold the curl all. It's a wetter formula. It's not holding the curl at all. So far, I'm still in love with my Tarte Maneater mascara, but let's go on the other eye. I'm going to curl my eyelashes on this eye, and we're going to use the other one. And this one just like smudged all over the place. Like it's getting everywhere. I don't know if I can call that waterproof. But of course this eye, and that's the reason why I stuck the waterproof one on this eye. This eye on mine, for some reason, waters like crazy. I do have to say that this eye is the eye that has the better lashes. it might just, mascaras look better on this eye than on that eye. And this wand seems flexible. I don't know if that's, I've never used the real mascara, but this is a pretty flexible wand, and I like a flexible wand. I'm gonna have to use this on my own, on its own next time, because I'm really liking this one. This mascara is looking really good. I do think that it's holding my curl really good. It's volumizing, it's lengthening, and it's not getting everywhere. So upon first impressions, this Lacura Rise Above mascara is my favorite. I just don't like the Better Than Sex mascara. Apparently, dupe or not, I don't like it. It just flaked all over my face putting it on. You'll see probably when I do the close-up, because I'm trying to remove the flakes now, but they're not removing all that easy, I must say. The one on the one that's like the Better Than Sex mascara, I noticed it clumped more too. So there's that. There is that. I don't like it. I think I'm just gonna go in with the gloss today. I'm gonna go in with I'm gonna go into that one. Forgot I had some of my Buxom plumping glosses from the holiday. I have this one. I think I'm gonna go in with this one though. One's in Pumpkin Spice Latte. This one's in Hazel, which is kind of like a yellowish brown gloss. So I'm gonna put this one on instead. It's the Buxom Full On Plumping, right? Yeah, Full On Plumping Lip Polish in the shade Hazel. It was a limited edition shade during the holidays that I picked up. This one, perfect. Goes perfect. Now that I have that on, I'm going to try to zoom you in just a smidge more. But here is my finished look. Hoping you're in focus right now. Can you tell the difference between the eyes? And look at the mascaras. Which one do you think looks better? The mascara on my left eye or the one on my right eye? I think the one on my left eye just clumped. And if you look really close, you can see where it smudged everywhere. I hate that about it. And my eye looks, I think, look very similar. You really can't tell too much of a difference now that everything is on. What do you think? Can you tell a difference? Can you tell that one cost like $49 and the other cost $5.99? Well, I think it was $6.99 for the palette. The gloss worked perfectly with it. It is just a brown gloss. I love it. I'm going to zoom you back out. As soon as I zoomed you back out, it cut off for me. Okay, so that's the end of my video. You have to let me know down below what you think. Are you going to run to your Aldi's and look for the Lacura palettes? Because $6.99 versus $40. I guess I should be holding it in my other hand. So $6.99 versus $4.99. Like, what do you think? This is like your typical cheap packaging. It doesn't feel as luxe. It doesn't have the magnetic closure. It snaps shut. Think Profusion Cosmetics, I guess you could think of that type of packaging. I don't think I would spend the money on the Urban Decay Naked Honey. I wouldn't. I would not waste my money on the Urban Decay Naked Honey. I would get this one. It's very comparable. Shades work the same. You're only paying for the name and the packaging on this. I feel like they performed just as good. This one might be the lighter shades were a little bit lighter. I did have to build them up a little bit more. Even the deeper outer corner shade, I had to build it up just a little bit more to get to the pigment of the Urban Decay Naked Honey. But it wasn't too terrible. I didn't feel like I had to work hard for it. It blended super easy, not patchy. This is a very good dupe. Now I'm gonna be excited, because now I'm excited. I'm excited to see what else they come out with. Who else are they gonna dupe? maybe more Too Faced dupes, maybe they'll expand out and do other ones, maybe Tarte or Too Faced. I feel like they'll probably stick with like the major brands like they did Urban Decay. So I feel like maybe they'll do Tarte, maybe they'll do Too Faced or something like that next, since they already have a Too Faced mascara. Looks like maybe they'll start coming out with like brow products that are dupes for Benefit, because this mascara, I really like this mascara. I will genuinely use this mascara because I really do like this Rise Above mascara. But the other mascara, this Lacura, their Brilliant Waterproof Mascara, I don't know if I'm going to use this again. I might wait a couple weeks and then try it again to see if the formula dry up a little bit, because the formula seemed very thin, and I do like a thicker mascara formula. So maybe once this one like thickens up in a couple weeks and dries out a little bit, I'll like it a little better. So maybe I'll try it in a couple weeks to see if I change my mind about it. But this one I'll definitely keep using, this Lacura Rise Above mascara. I would keep using this. I don't know if it's a dupe for the Benefit, the real mascara, because I've never used that one from Benefit. I've only used the Bad Girl Bang one and the Curl one. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I really do like the Bad Girl Bang mascara from Benefit. Anyways, that's my video today. You'll have to let me know in the comments down below if you plan on going to your local Aldi's to see if they have these Lacura palettes, the primers, the mascaras, or you planning to pick any of this up. It's a very good deal. The mascaras were only $3.99 a piece. I believe the primers were also $3.99 a piece, and they had more than the illuminating one. They had the photo finish one, the pore minimizing one, the redness, the green one that reduces redness. They had that one, and I think there was a mattifying pore filling one, something like that, plus just like the photo finish one. I forget what they call that one, but I'm gonna have to keep testing this. But anyways, that is my video today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the comparison to the Urban Decay Naked Honey and like how similar it is to it. And I'm definitely gonna do another video on the Intense palette, because I do want to see how that performs, since I was pleasantly surprised with the Nectar palette and how it performed. But anyways, that's my video today. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up down below. It really helps out my channel. And if you're not yet subscribed, I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to my channel. And next to the subscribe button is the bell. You can ring that if you want to be notified whenever I upload, because my uploads have been super sporadic lately. Anyways, I hope you have a great day, night, weekend, whenever it is you're watching this. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.